Hey gang, Mark LeBlanc from the Alley Cat Workshop, welcoming you back. I got a quick one for you today. 7 months ago, I was working on the bench dog holes on my bench top. And I was showing you guys how I had used these two jigs to be able to drill holes using an upcut router bit. And I ran into some problems during that video. The first problem, which was pretty major, was that the router bit started becoming really dull. To the point where it was burning the wood or burning the cut and creating more sawdust, fine dust as opposed to wood chips. The good news here is that I found a local place that sharpens tools. So I got my table saw blade sharpened, beautiful. And I just gave it a shot with the router bit that I got sharpened as well, and the results are actually quite nice as well. So I'm able to get back in line with this particular project. Just as a recap, the second problem that I ran into was dust collection, and I just put my hands on this flexible coupling that will hopefully work with my shop vac and with the router, and hopefully that takes care of most of the dust. So just as a recap, I have two jigs. This is the first one that I created. This is the second one. In both cases, what I've got are holes, or I've got these templates where the router base sits. Very solid, very secure. I'm able to plunge the router bit straight into the material, lift it up, stop the router bit, and nothing moves. The first jig was used to drill the first 3 holes that I've got, and the second jig is to drill the next 3 holes. The reason why I have 2 is because these plates take too much room. Now the second jig, one of the benefits of it is I have got, let me just show you this, I've got extra holes in here so that I can put the bench dogs and actually line up the jig properly. So all I need to do is line it up, put these bench dogs into the holes, and my base is at least lined up. I'll just use a couple of clamps. Secure it in place, and then I'm able to route 3 holes at a time, and then just move off for every single cut. The other thing I did is I reduced the speed on my router. So this Triton router has got a number of settings. I'm on setting 2, so it's a pretty slow speed. It's meant so that I can take my time, plunge it down nice and slow, get the material cut, and not burn the bit the way I did the first time. So, with all this, let me just get set up, and I'll do a couple of rows with you guys, and you'll see it's child's play. So if you want to do bench dog holes on your tabletop, on your workbench top, this is a really good method. The router bit was 80 bucks. That was the most expensive piece. These 2 jigs, really made out of scrap. Sharpening the bit cost only 10 bucks. Well worth the expense. And if it dulls out while I'm doing this, I'll just bring it back, get it resharpened again, and just finish the job as I go along. It's a lot cheaper to spend 10 bucks to get it sharpened than it is to buy a new one. So, let me just suit up, and let's get going.
I would normally edit this video and only show you the few relevant parts. I decided to keep this whole thing intact, mostly to show you just how much I struggled with the dust collection. Now, the rubber coupling I bought actually worked quite well. It allowed me to secure my shop vac hose to a plastic coupling that I thought was going to hold in my Triton router. I managed to make it work for 2 cuts. It actually worked really well for those 2 cuts. The dust collection was quite good. And then after that, I just couldn't hold it in place properly. So I had to abandon that particular solution. There has to be a better solution out there, and I would love to hear from you if you know what options are out there. So I would ask you to please leave me a comment below. All right, enough about the dust collection. Let's get back to the routing of the holes. You see me make a cut, stop the router, move it to the next position. Now once all 3 holes have been routed, all that's left for me to do is to unclamp the jig, move it to the next row of holes. And as mentioned earlier, I'm using 2 bench dogs to align the jig for the next cut. Very, very easy solution.
Alright gang, so the router bit survived the entire ordeal. And one thing I did notice is that this is one of the old dog holes, so this is a little bit loose. But if I put it into one of the new ones, because I reduced the speed on the router bit, I guess, on the router rather, this is a much nicer, tighter fit. Here's another one. So like this one's actually really quite tight. So that's good. So my bench top is done, and just to show you the router bit, it's looking, first of all, it's pretty hot. I'm not going to handle it, but it's looking like it would need another sharpening, which is not surprising considering the work that it had to go through. You must have noticed as well the problems I had with the dust collection, so I need to figure out a better solution to the dust collection. The problem is that this is the piece that is going into the router, and it's just not holding. There's got to be another attachment that comes from Triton that has a much more secure grip in the dust port. All right, gang. So I'm happy this is done. My bench is really coming along. The next phases is going to happen much later, but it's going to be to add some drawers to the bottom. But thanks for watching, guys, and do subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, you know the drill, and I will see you soon.